everyone! So today I just wanted to talk about relapse. On your way to recovery, it's probably going to happen to you. It happens to everyone at some point. It does really suck, but there are a few things you can do to get out of relapse and continue with recovery. First, don't beat yourself up about it. Relapse is going to happen to everyone on varying levels, varying degrees. I'm going to be talking specifically about self-harm for me because, I've never relapsed with drugs or alcohol. If you just keep beating yourself up about relapsing, it's just going to lead to a cycle of relapse and you're not going to get back on your way to recovery. Just remember that you're not back at square one. This doesn't mean that all the work that you've done on recovery has just been trashed and led to nothing. That's not what relapse means at all. So far during your recovery, you've learned coping methods, you've learned more about your mental illness, and how to manage it better. So it doesn't mean you haven't accomplished anything on your way to recovery. It just means that you had a little bump in the road, a little hiccup along the way, and you're gonna be okay. I promise. Well, I can't promise, but you'll probably be okay. The year mark for self-harm is kind of like a big deal, but then people get too focused on it so that when they do relapse, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I had this huge track record and then all of it is ruined now. It doesn't mean anything. And that is not necessarily the case. You can say, I went 1 year and only self-harmed once, or I went 1 year and only self-harmed twice or 3 times, or however many times that you relapsed. The important thing is that you're getting better and you're continuing on recovery and not getting caught in a cycle of relapse. Like I said in the video before this one, on recovery, hopefully your relapses are gonna go from, or this is where you started, and you're gonna recover and then you're gonna relapse, but it's not gonna be as bad and you're gonna just keep doing that, you know? So there are a few questions that you can ask yourself when you relapse so you can avoid it the next time. The first question is, what method was I using that didn't work? There are a lot of different methods to coping with depression, anxiety, etc. So which one were you using? Which one were you relying on that didn't work this time? And maybe try something else this time. For me, I was counting the days that I didn't self-harm, and that didn't really work and I relapsed. So I decided I'm not gonna count. And I was kind of like, January was kind of when I stopped self-harming. So next January would be like a year mark about. And I just didn't worry about it. I just decided that keeping track of how many days I had or hadn't self-harmed wasn't really working for me. The second question you should ask yourself, what times, places, or triggers cause your relapse? A lot of different things can be the cause of a relapse. It might just be a bout of depression that you're going through, or it might be something specific. So maybe try to find specific things that caused your relapse or kind of triggered your relapse. And if you can avoid those things, if it's not completely unreasonable, you should maybe go ahead and avoid them. Like if you have a panic attack while playing a certain game or reading a certain book, maybe stop doing that. Obviously, you can't avoid certain things within reason, like if you have panic attacks when you go outside or you ride in a car or a bus or something. Obviously, those aren't really situations that you could exactly avoid. So in that case, you're going to want to be prepared for the situation or event that's going to trigger a negative response. You can prepare for these things by talking to friends or family and letting them know that you're going to be upset during whatever time, event, place that you're going to, so that they know that you're not going to be okay and they can keep checking in on you and asking you what you need. You can also have different things prepared, like if listening to music makes you feel better, then bring your iPod with you, iPhone, whatever you have music on, Zune. Maybe bring a pen and paper along if you like to draw or write. So yeah, you can be distracted. Just bring different distraction type things with you. Just remember that It doesn't mean that you've started completely over with your recovery. It just means you've learned something new, you've learned a coping method that doesn't work, and you can go on to other things, other coping methods, and you can continue in your recovery. It's just a learning experience. I do have a quote thingy for you, which I'm not exactly sure if Edison actually said this, because for some reason the internet told me that he might not have said this, but remember, Edison failed nearly 1,000 times to make a light bulb, and when asked about it, he said, "I didn't fail, I just found 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb." So, you might fail 1,000 times and relapse. It doesn't mean that you failed, it just means that you found 1,000 ways not to recover. 1,000 ways. 1,000 different things that don't work for you. I'm trying to make this work. I don't think it's gonna work. Okay. Bye everybody. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.